Hello and welcome to the Drivers' Room Endurance Championship Season 3. This is round 2 from Fuji, and after round 1 we can see F1 had a storming victory in first position, taking maximum points, with Mungino finishing a strong second and Fords having a fantastic finish in third. Nijogger took fourth with Plux in fifth. Then we've got Muller, Jammy, Ben, Senna, Gadget, Jules, Rocker and Canny rounding out the point scorers from last time. As you can see, the points have changed for Season 3, we're now scoring down to 15th position. However, last time didn't have enough finishes for that to come into effect, but we'll see how that changes the championship dynamic as we head into Season 3. F1 will be looking to stretch his points advantage through round 2, with Mungino and Fords also hoping to capitalise on strong positions in round 1. Nijogger and Plux were hoping to leap back up the order as perennial contenders for the championship, whilst drivers such as Gadget and Senna will be hoping to come back up the order after less than ideal finishes in round 1. Let's see what happened down at the track. As we head now down to the track here at Fuji, we'll take a look at the starting grid, and we'll go through the runners and riders and what strategy they're starting off on. We're in sparkling sunshine here in Fuji. As we can see, we've got Mungino on pole. He's starting on the soft tyres all round. Then we've got Plux in the M4L Porsche. He's also on softs. F1 on softs in the Orca Nissan. Followed by Nijogger. He's running supers on the rear and softs on the front in the Lexus. V8 with a stunning lap to get 5th. He's running softs all round on his Porsche. Followed by Gadget in the newly painted McLaren F1 for the Sigma team. He's on softs. Followed by Muller in the familiar OSR Red Bull Aston. Ritchie making his debut with a good starting position of 8th. He's on softs. Senna, he's starting the first race in the AMG Mercedes on softs. Followed by Ben in the FT1 Toyota. He's on softs. Jammy is in the Mercedes as per usual. He's starting on supers. Canny in the second of the McLarens. He's starting on soft tyres. Then Halder in the Mustang starting on the supers. And Grim 2 is starting on the supers in the Monster Racing Mustang. Then we have Fords, who couldn't set a lap time due to connection issues. He's starting on softs. And RS3, who unfortunately starts from the back due to the infamous tyre change glitch. Let's see what happened. The revs now build as we come into the start of the race. We can't quite see the lights, but it's going to be any time now. Off they go. So you've got a good start. Looks like F1 maybe got a good start. He's already past Plux and Nijogger, and looking from the back there we've got Gadget with a great start up from 6th position. As F1 slides. Oh, he's gone a bit wide. That's going to give Plux the run on the exit. As they head down towards turn 2, Mungino's got a great start. Oh, a bit of strange contact there. Looked like Plux was trying to do a bit of a Pruitt fade. And then contact again through turn 2. Mungino's got a great start. There's F1, followed by Plux, now under threat a little bit from Nijogger. See if Nijogger throws it up the inside. No, he keeps it in line. There's Gadget, he's had a great start. Upper position. There's V8, he's in 6th, just dropped the 1 position, but still a good start for him. As we're jumping back forward with Mungino, there's F1, followed by Plux. Plux is closed in a little bit, I think, under braking. He's going to want to stay on the back of the very fast Nissan. Oh, that looked like there was a kick of oversteer there. And Nijogger's going to slither up the inside. Oh, a bit of contact between the two. Bit of a muscly pass there from Nijogger. And that's going to really have cost Plux, because Plux is going to want to stay with F1, and the very fast McLaren of Gadget is now probably going to get both these cars. As Plux dives it to the inside out the final corner, that's going to compromise both cars as exits. And Gadget's probably in the catbird seat now to overtake both of them down the main straight. McLaren's got exceptional top speed. There we go. Fox pulls out. And Gadget's pulling out in front of, to the side of him. They're 3 wide down the main straight. And yeah, it is. Gadget's taking the lead. Fox will tuck in underneath him. He's going to have to brake a little earlier than you probably want. And Plux, who's the biggest loser out of lap 1, I think, going from 2nd down to 5th. That's going to really have cost him. As we've seen Ninjago trying to think about going down the inside, but he's not going to make it through there. And there's F1 sticking with Mongino. Mongino looked pretty bulletproof in practice. He was definitely the quickest of all the drivers. As we're sliding back through the field, Forza's had a great start from 15th up to 9th. RS3's jumped up a few positions as well. Looks like Jammy's been the big loser, dropping all the way down 6 positions. And there's Jason at the back. There's Ben's point of view of the start in the Toyota. Let's see what happened here. Oh, Richie in his first race looks like he got a poor start. That's really cost him. That's a real shame for him. You can see the fast starting McLaren of Canny there. What's he going to be going for? Oh, RS3 got a great start off the back, but a little bit aggressive there. He does get up the positions, but a great start by RS3. On board with Muller, he's fallen down a few positions from his start position of 7th. It's all very tight. Everyone managing to keep it fairly clean. Scores, stuck in behind. Ben's going around the outside. Can he tuck it back in? No, he's going to be on the outside there. Forza's having a good little... Oh, there was a bit of lag there. I think Forza's still having those connection issues. We'll see how long he lasts into this race. Miller's managed to pull away a bit from the group. We're back on board with Ayrton. Oh, RS3 going to the outside. Oh, bit of contact there. And RS3, oh, he's out in the grass. That's going to really cost him time. Oh, and he's clipped Grinlock as well. That's a terrible first lap. Oh, lucky there was a bit of ghosting there. Oh, is that going to be even more problems for the 2 Mustangs? Good side-by-side racing there. There's For's intense. So we'll see how long he can stay in the room, but so far the attends are looking good. Ooh. Trying to see if he can find a way past Ben. Ben keeping the inside line. Which of these 2 cars is better in a straight line? Looks like the attender, because Ben isn't even in the slipstream. Was he not? He's not changed up into 6th gear. I think he left that in the rev limiter, and I think that's why Forza's got back past. It's going to be about who's bravest on the brakes. Ben's trying to go all the way around the outside. He has managed to hold it there, but I think Forza's probably got the better run out the corner. Yes, he has. There's Muller up to 8th. There's Senna. So we're on board now on lap 2. Look at those fight for the 3rd position at the moment. Oh, V8's gone far too deep. I think he's going to get reset there. He dived it off the road so he wouldn't cause an incident. I think if he'd gone to the outside though, he probably would have been in a better position. He's lost a whole bag of positions through that mistake. Senna's managing to hold on to the back of these 3 through their fight. See if he can get involved. And Muller's not far behind either. Oh, but he runs a bit wide through there. That corner's deceptively slow because it's off camber. And the same here. Got to get the nosing, get the power on nicely. Plux has done a good job there. He's going to have to contend with the toe there as we're on board with Mongino. In the lead, but he's not really pulling away. F1 set the fastest lap of the race. Oh, Gadget. And there's Plux in the slipstream. Can he pull off the move into turn 1? It's going to be very close. He's going very far back. And he has managed to send that one down the inside. He's kept that clean, and he gave him a little bit of space there. He was quite compliant. You can see 3rd through 7th is separated probably by less than 2 seconds. And Miller's going to be wanting to kind of move forward a bit. Perennial title contender. He seems to let himself down with issues in qualifying quite often. Oh, is that a bit of contact there? There was a bit of contact there, and Nijogger's going to have slipped back through. What happened there? Flux has probably gone for another dive. He's having to be very aggressive. Oh, it was kind of alongside, but Gadget didn't see him. And that was a bit of a rash move there by Flux. He could have left that. Flux has made sure he's let Gadget back through. We've now got 4 cars, double file into the hairpin. Let's see what happens here. Ayrton's had a look on Flux. It looked like he was originally defending from Muller, but it's... Oh, Flux has put him right out onto the grass as far as he possibly could. But that's really hurt both cars' races as we're on board with F1. He's managed to stay with Mungino the entire way around this lap. And the power of that Nissan is probably going to give him a good chance here. You can see already. It's coming up behind. The Audi is very much a qualifying car. It seems to suffer with tyre wear and it's not particularly good in a straight line. F1's going to probably swoop back across. Yes, he does. Quite aggressively, but he positioned his car well. He's going to have the clean line through there. Gino's a little bit wide of the mark through there, and that's actually given F1 a bit more of a break. As we can see, Flux and Gadget still fighting hard. Flux managed to get the position, but it looks like it's going to be close. Oh, and Gadget with an excellent move there around the outside of turn 2. It's a very difficult place to overtake there. You think the inside would be the safer bet. Here comes Flux again, the same manoeuvre. Is he going to try it? Oh, a bit of contact there. Just heard the front bumpers touch. The front bumper and the rear bumper touch, but he sidles it through this time. Slithering down the inside. That's the move he was trying to get before. It wasn't quite close enough, and Gadget didn't see it coming. Now Flux is going to have to cover the inside line. Gives him a small bit of a Pruitt fade there. For those who aren't aware, look up IndyCar. Scott Pruitt. It was Scott Pruitt. Senna and Muller still having a good old fight as we cut towards the back. Well, the midfield, let's say. It's not quite the back. Oh, Grim goes wide. That's a real shame. He had a great start. As we can see, 4th here in 8th. There's Ben. Richie trying to recover that early issue. We go through. Turn 2, looking back now from Ben. The Toyota is a great sounding car and it's a good handling car. Ben has shown a few times just how fast it was. Suzuki, he came all the way from the back to take a strong points finish last season. There's Canny in the F1. The McLaren F1 is a weird car because it's older. It doesn't quite have the same downforce and grip. Especially doesn't have the braking power of some of these more modern GT cars. But it is phenomenal in a straight line. So we're jumping now onto lap 5. And there's Flux. Under attack again from Gadget. Looks like he can't hold it. And Muller's done a nice move down the inside of centre there. Flux is trying to go around the outside, down towards the inside. Let's see if Gadget can hold it on again. But it looks like Flux has got the run this time. Using all the track. And he does now have it. We've seen already he's probably the best through this corner. It's especially better than the older McLaren now. It's got dirty air. And I think maybe Flux has managed to scamper free. He's going to be chasing after Nijola. But you can see already the gap that's been pulled out by F1 and Mungino. They're coming out of the very tight switchbacks. Mungino hasn't really dropped off too quickly. There's Knee. He's kind of holding a strong 3rd position now. And Flux has got about 2.5 seconds to make up if he wants to get onto the podium, as does Gadget. And there's Muller. He'll be aiming for a strong finish. Richie's now into 8th. It's a good finish from him. It looks like we have lost RS3 and Force. So Force's connection has dropped, and I think RS3 threw in the towel. There's Grimlock. There's good 11th position. The point system has changed this round, for this season. We've extended the points down all the way to 15th to try and promote people actually finishing the races. But you do have to have completed 80% of the race. You can't just plonk it in the pits. You do have to actually race the race. There's F1, keeping that gap about the same, but I think his tyres are in a lot better condition. Yes, they are. See how long the Audi can hold on. Oh, a big slide there. The Jog are much more controlled through there than the Lexus. A lot of people like the Lexus a lot. It's quite a planted car. See, Gadget is holding on to the back of Plux here. Plux hasn't managed to get away. Oh, that was an incident there. That was Senna going very wide in the Mercedes. Of course, it's its first race in the Mercedes since switching away from the BMW. On board, looking back from Richie. These two, Ben and Richie, have had a good fight so far. Let's see how this goes now. Ben looking around the outside. Richie's gone a little bit late, but Ben hasn't been able to capitalise because he himself didn't really get the best run through there. But this has been a great debut there from Richie. Get himself some solid points. There's Muller, still staying on the back of the McLaren. Oh, big slide from Plux. The Porsche is one of those cars which is quite difficult to drive at the start of the stint. As we're jumping ahead now. Plux does seem to start bridging that gap, but Gadget's coming with him this time. But this is the second race in a row we haven't really seen the usual race from Plux. Champion in Season 1 and Season 2. Ooh, Gadget runs a little bit wide there. There's Muller. F1's been the very much dominant force so far. He's leading it here. He dominated in Monza despite making errors. Though Monza was very much a car where if you weren't in a Peugeot you were pretty much scuppered. F1 did change this season from the Toyota to the Peugeot, probably in anticipation of Monza being such a Peugeot track. There's Ben. Silence it through on the inside, but now he's left himself vulnerable to attacks. We see Senna bouncing it into the pit lane, as does Richie. So Ben's going to be all alone now. Bit of a gap forming between Muller and Gadget now. Tyres on the Aston are a little bit worn. Until the fuel comes off that car, it is prone to understeer. There's Plux in the Porsche. This season, a small change in livery. The M4R team embracing the Pepsi sponsorship, which does mean we do end up at the moment with a red car, a blue car, and a yellow car on the line. And there's Nee trying to chase down. There's the view back to Plux. You can see the gap is coming down slowly. And Gino, his tyres are absolutely ruined, if you see. Down on that bottom left indicator. He probably will be pitting soon. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to go for the two-stop. It's definitely a two-stop versus three-stop race. Expected laps of 36. Nee, there's Plux. He is definitively closer, I think, this time by. I don't think Nee's had the best of laps. Let's see if... Yep, and Gino is coming in. That looked like a good... That was a very Gran Turismo X entrance into the pit lane there, taking advantage of the fact that damage doesn't really work like it does in real life. There's F1 controlling out the front. A very good start. His tyres are in reasonable condition when you consider that's a big, heavy front engine car. Same with the Lexus. Front's quite good. The Porsche's got excellent overall tyre wear, it seems. It seems to be wearing fairly consistently across all four tyres, which is going to help. He's closing him in. They seem to have dropped Gadget a little bit. There's Gadget now in fourth. Let's see what Mangino's up to. He's behind Ben now. We'll get a nice kind of visual demonstration of how much dirty and old tyres makes a difference. Just when Gino will be able to get on the power earlier, he'll be able to turn and carry more speed through those corners, brake later, and probably half that distance. And now back on board with Ben, looking back at him. Watch how much he closes in under braking. Of course there will be some concertina effect, but some of that will be genuinely just how much more grip Mangino's got. Back and forth with Plux, who's now right with Knee Jogger. Looks like Knee Jogger's had a rather average lap. Let's see what Plux does here. Oh, a bit of a slide there from the Porsche. Reasonable exit though. Let's see if the slipstream's powerful enough. And now back on board with Knee Jogger. You can see as the Porsche is coming now. Knee Jogger did get a little bit dive bombed by Plux earlier on lap 5. Lap 3, sorry. This time he's tried it again. I think he's gone a bit deep this time. I think he's going to get the over-under on him. Yes, he has. Plux doesn't have enough grunt in that Porsche to be able to pull it back. Knee Jogger will hold on, and all this battling helps F1 because it means that his main rival in the championship so far is getting held up still. Of course, Knee Jogger and so far Mangino, Gadget and Miller, I'd say, are probably the championship contenders. Mangino's really come into this season with a bit more fire. Some of that awful luck is starting to turn. He's getting some good, decent finishes. This is their pole here. Maybe he'll get fastest lap, but he had a great race last time. As I'm talking over the action here, so we see Plux diving it down the inside at the tight right-hander before the switchback. It looks like he has managed to get that move done on lap 11. We'll see if Knee Jogger can come back at him down the main straight. Yeah. Porsche's never been particularly good in a straight. Oh, he's left himself a little bit wide there. He had to get back on the brakes. It wasn't a very smooth run through that penultimate corner. Oh, a little slide there from the rear of the Porsche as we're back on board with F1, who's just cruising away at the moment. Still setting reasonably good lap times. We'll see if there's any measurable distance. Oh no, we won't see that. We'll be back on board with the field. So Ben's in 5th. Gadget's now pitted. Looks like he's going for a kind of hybrid strategy, I think. Probably a 3-stop, but a late 3-stop. Knee Jogger couldn't close it in, but it does look like Plux has gone a little bit wide there. He managed to make the corner. And there's Muller, he's also pitted. He's got fresh softs on. And there's Ayrton, who pitted earlier on. He pitted around lap 7. Ben there in the pits. Here's Richie and Jammy. They're going to come past Ben. Ben, of course, doing the longer stint, so he won't have to do quite as many pit stops. A little bit of touching there between the two cars. You can see Ben coming out the pit lane now. But Jammy, Richie, Ben, they all seem to have had a good race so far. In the old point system, they'd be fighting for 4, 2 and 1 points. I think they're fighting for a lot more points now, which is good. Makes people focus and drive a little bit harder. This is a good tussle here between... Oh, Senna's gone wide there. He saw the front end wash out. He drove it in a little bit too deep, and as he came over the crest, the front end washed out. That Aston's going to get much, much, much better to drive as the fuel wears off. And Gino there, we'll be seeing if he can kind of bridge the gap. He'll take the positions back when these front 3 pit. We'll see if they pit this time. This would be kind of a balanced 2-stop. F1's in. Looks like Plux is doing the same, and Knee Jogger. They're all coming across that line. Plux has made it in without touching the wall, and so has Knee Jogger. So there's some nice clean entrances to the pit lane. You can see that F1's got a little less fuel than the cars behind, but he's got a big gap, so he can make up for that. To see how these guys come out the pit. So F1's come out with supers. See the race out the pit lane between these two. They're out at the same time, but Knee Jogger's jumped because Plux has weirdly taken 3 litres of fuel onto his car. Don't know why he would have done that. Maybe he was just topping off to make sure he made it the next 12 laps, but I mean, he's used under 50 litres of fuel. You think he'd be able to make it, and that's cost him time and position. He's going to have to do all that work again. I think this might cost him even more time. And it's all stemmed, remember, from that little error he made on lap 1. And this is allowing F1 and Mung and Gino to get away. Oh, a big slide there by F1 on the new tyres. Maxim trying to get everything he can out those tyres. You can see Mungino's now set a new fastest lap in the 37s, which is a pretty stunning lap time. There's F1. He's shown excellent pace, very consistent as per usual. There's Gadget. He's set his new personal best lap time of the 38.3. And Nijogger there. Back out after the pits. Plux is behind him. Plux is usually not the best on fresh tyres, if I'm honest. We've seen this before, he struggles on that first lap. Doesn't really ever maximise. A little spike of lag there for Plux. He managed to stay with Nijogger, but he'll be kicking himself for letting him through the pit stops of all places. There's Muller. He's on soft tyres. Richie, who's holding on to a strong 8th position there. Looks like Ben's lost a little bit of time. Back on board with Plux. It looks like he's got another run. I think he's a bit far back though. Yep, he won't be able to make a move. Ooh, strange bit of laggy contact again there. Looks like it didn't really affect Nijogger. I think that was a genuine bit of lag. There's Gadget in 3rd. Good, strong position. He didn't have the best of races last time out. Nijogger did with a strong 3rd place. He's been very consistent through season 2, and he's showing that again through season 3. There's F1, star of the show so far. He's in 2nd, but he'll be closing him down. And really, he's got supers on. We'll expect them to last. Well, we'll see how long they last. And Gino's only managing to make the softs the last 9 laps. I can't imagine what the Audi would do to supers. There's F1, bearing him down. So far, he's looked pretty unbeatable. There's Gadget, a strong 3rd position. We have Nijogger and Plux right behind. Another small little lag burst from Nijogger there. As he focuses on that good exit. This time by he might have him. Nijogger got an okay exit, but Plux got a much better exit than he did last time by. There's been a lot of action here at the front in the top 5 this time by. But we'll drop back now and see a few more battles at the back. This long continuing battle between Richie and Jammy, and Ben's probably going to join back in soon. We're back on board with Knee. Oh, that looks like Plux has muscled his way through on the inside. Let's take a look at what happened there. Plux has gone for it. Brakes hard down on the inside. Ooh, a little bit of contact, but it looked like Plux had won the corner that time. Looks like he's going to set off away from Nijogger. We'll see if Knee can hold on to him, or if Plux pulls away towards Gadget. Of course, Gadget's got older tyres than these two, so we don't expect him to stay ahead for too long once they get into a battle. But of course, that superior straight line speed might keep him in it longer than you'd expect. There's Muller having a quiet race in 6th. The Aston's always a consistently good car. As we're now on board with Ayrton. Yeah, oh, big slide there. That's going to allow Jammy to close in. Some of those corners you want to be fairly gentle through. This whole final sector is kind of off throttle a little earlier than you think, on the throttle a little later than you think, or as you go wide. It's all off camber, understeery stuff. And then this corner though is finally quite oversteery, or quite easy to oversteer as you stamp on the throttle to get down the main straight, because you're always a bit impatient to get it back together. As we've seen Rangino there, only just holding onto the lead now. They start to make their way through lap traffic. That was Hal there. He's having I believe he's actually come away from the race and is on auto drive at the moment, so we'll see what that's about. F1's now set a new fastest lap of the race, you see. I think that's a 37.7. Gino's losing around half a second or so per lap to F1 at the moment, because of course his tyres are older. We'll see if he can hold him off still until the end of the race, or at least to the end of this stint. If he can, that will help him, because remember last time by he couldn't do it, and F1 managed to get back past before Gino's first pit stop, which is always the worst thing that can happen if you're on a 3 stop and someone's on a 2. You want to at least hold on to the lead before you pit. But I think this might be a rerun of last time's overtaking manoeuvre. I think F1's going to wait till the straight, and then just power straight by with the much more powerful Nissan. And there's not really much Mangino can do. He got a terrible exit as well out of there. That's pretty much signed, sealed, delivered, I believe, for that overtake. You see Plux has closed in a little bit, but still not massively quickly. He's brought Nijogger along for the ride as well. F1's done exactly the same manoeuvre as last time. This time Mangino's tried to pick up the slipstream a bit more, and again has a look under braking but goes wide. The F1's gone quite wide through there. I think Mangino had got that a little bit tighter. We've done a bit better. So we see Jammy there. He's starting to pull away a little bit from Ben. Ben up into 8th, ahead of Senna. I think Senna's had another pit stop. Of course, he pitted probably the first of anybody on that first stint, and I think maybe that 3-stop strategy isn't going to work for him. It might even become a 4-stop. Because he's now quite a long way back from Ben. You can see Jason's definitely on auto drive now. That's going to be more annoying than anything else. There's Richie. Intense. He's had a good round. Actually, a V8 of all people, who's under attack here from Canny, definitely seems to have had most problems because he started way up in fifth position. He's kind of fallen down the field ever since his mistake he made on lap 2. There's Canny. Let's see how Canny got past or got into position. Because yeah, V8 managed to get a bit of contact there between the two of them. You can see V8 I think is holding off, and now Canny's holding off, and it looks like they're both trying to let each other through. Now they're finally back up to racing speed. Let's see what V8 does through here. Oh, looks a little bit late on the brakes there. Oh, he's gone very wide there. That will allow Canny to have that attack we saw. There's Ayrton now. End of lap 18. He's behind Richie. He's on the fresher tyres though. We're about the same age actually. But this has been a very, quiet but impressive debut there from Richie. There's Ben. He still needs to pit in the Toyota. Fabulous paint scheme on that car. Of course, all these paint schemes are done by our drivers, and they do really allow the grid to kind of pop, especially with all the drivers' room decals. If you want to get involved with the drivers' room, I interject myself because Gadget and Plux are having another ding-dong battle. We'll get back to how you join in a minute. A bit of contact there through there. Now Gadget's going to have to run through here. He goes all the way around the outside. No way can he make that one work. Oh, a big tail slide through there. I expect... Oh, there's Nijoy having a little look as well. Going, I'll have a bit of that. And this looks like a repeat of lap 1 for these guys. Gadget's going to have got a monster exit out of there on the outside. As you see, Mangino's pitted again. So he is definitely going for the 3-stop strategy. There's Gadget in the much faster in a straight line McLaren. He's going to have that position long before the corner, though Plux is going to make it a little bit difficult for him. We'll have a look around the outside. You've got to be so careful on that outside curb. You can't touch it for any extended period of time with the power on, or it just fires the car towards the inside. And there's Nijogger to close the whole group up again. And like I say, I think this is allowed F1 a much easier race than you might have had otherwise, because these guys have just battled each other all race. Oh, that's a good move there from Plux. Gadget gave him the space again, and this time Nijogger's right there, so Gadget can't go full attack. Gadget's probably pitting at the end of this lap. Gadget's having a look. Plux has had to defend to the extreme inside. Plux brakes are extremely late in comparison to the other two. Manages to hold him off then. Gadget's holding off Knee. This is a great battle between these three, but it's cost them, it must be at least 5-6 seconds of battle, maybe more, because look how far F1 is ahead. And yes, he's had better pace than these guys, but I definitely feel like a lot of that has come from these guys just refusing to stay in station and kind of sit behind each other and try and make lap time. And there's Jammy in a good 7th position, Ayrton and Richie, and V8's managed to get on the grass, but also get back past Canny. There's Mangino. He's probably going to be coming past Muller soon on those fresh tyres. We see Gadget's in the pit now. And we'll try and take a moment now to say, if you do want to join the Drivers' Room, either the Endurance Series, if you want to get hold of that man there, Gadget334, he's the man to contact for the Endurance Series. If you contact anyone about our Sunday League as well, I'm sure we'll pass you on to the those who need to know. Yeah, it's a friendly community. We do like a good hard race, but too fair. No rammers and no punting. And if there is an occasional bit of avoidable contact, people do sort it out and let people back through. As we see, Mangino's probably going to go for a dive now into the left-hander. Jump forward a little bit here with Gadget. That was on those fresh tyres. We see F1's now into the pits. A lap earlier than he was last time, but he was of course on the supers last time. Maybe he's going to go for a slightly longer stint now. He's got less fuel in the car. On softs, probably? It would seem a little preposterous to go back out on the supers if he couldn't make it that long with only 20 minutes of racing left. Now Plux is going to take the lead. As we can see, he hasn't pitted yet, nor is Jogger. This is definitely going to be a close race for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. F1 now in 4th position. Gadget couldn't quite get back past. So that shows you just the gap that F1's already pulled out if he's managed to pit after Gadget's had a couple of laps of fresher tyres. There's Plux. Oh, big fishtail there from the Porsche. You can see it's almost out of fuel. He will probably be coming in this time, as will Jogger. Jogger's had a few duff laps, it looks like, at the end of the stint. Seems to be you want to really stay in the 39s as long as you possibly can. Plux has had a duff lap as well. He had a lap in the 41s there after a couple of laps in the 39s. You can see actually, lap 19-20 where they were battling Gadget, they both had terrible laps because they were stuck behind Gadget, and I think that's going to have cost them in the chance of possibly having a go at F1. These two both have had better pace than I think their positions, well, their distance to F1 shows. Mangino again has set a new fastest lap of the race. He just can't help himself. But I think he's taking himself out of contention with his pit strategy. There's F1. Will be resuming 2nd place. Of course, Mangino will have the position for now, but he'll need to pit soon. Gadget stayed with him and will take the positions back off Plux, but he'll definitely need to pit again. So he's kind of taking himself out of this race, unless he's going to maybe 2 stints of supers and maybe trying to use the extra pace to get back in front of those guys and make up the time for the pit stop. So we see Senna there in 8th. He'll probably be pitting again soon, as he's got very little fuel left in the car. Ben is in the pits after his 2-stop strategy mirroring the leaders. He's done a good job. There's Jammy, he's already pitted. There's Richie, he's also just pitted. He's probably filled up to the end. It's not it was quite tidy, but a little bit wide exit to that final corner. V8 needs to pit. Probably will do so this time. Yeah, it looks like he's coming in this time. There's Grim. He's got absolutely destroyed tyres on that Mustang. Surely he's going to be pitting. And there's Canny, he has just pitted on the Intersport McLaren. That's a great looking livery on that car, by the way. It's slightly retro, which is just right for that car. There's Mangino, out in the lead for now. We'll see how long he can hold on, if he can make it all the way to at least his pit stop before F1 comes thundering back past in the big GTR. At the moment, I think F1's very much got this in the bag. It would take either a big mistake or a monumental stint from Jogger or Plux. I think Mangino and Gadget have taken themselves out of the top 3 now with their pit strategies. You can see actually there's the gap that F1's got over the rest of the two stoppers. Plux down in 4th. See what his he can do this time. There's Muller, who's just set his best lap of the race on super soft tyres, so he's going through a 3-stop as well. He'll probably still maintain position. I don't think he can probably lose 6th place, he's just faster than Jammy, and I think Jammy's actually on the same strategy. There is Jammy, yeah, he's already pitted recently and is a fair way back. So I think Jammy's aiming for 7th. There's Senna in the pits. He'll be back out soon. See if he can make it to the end. I doubt he can because he's been doing about 7 or 8 laps per stint. There's Grimlock, who still hasn't pitted, and that's going to allow Cammy back through. He doesn't need to pit. I think Grim's staying out. No, he's going to tuck behind. Is he going to go for the pits? No, he is going to stay out. So Grimlock's deciding to drive on old tyres for a challenge, I guess. From a strategic point of view, I don't really see the point in that. He probably should have pitted 2 laps ago and gone for the 12 lap stint like the others were doing. There's V8, of course he pitted not long ago. And Halder is in the pits as well. I don't know how long he's been in the pits for. V8's had a bit of an unfortunate race. There's Mangino at the front. He'll be pitting probably at the end of this. Oh, very deep through there. That's going to leave him pretty exposed to F1 by the time we get round the lap. Should be a shame for him to lose that position. And again, just gone wide through there. And we've seen this before from Mangino. When he's under pressure or on the older tyres, he's a little bit susceptible to making errors like this. He had a big lead in Monza and didn't fuel up enough there. Had to go into pretty much recovery mode to get the car home, and that cost him a shot at the win. And I think, you know, he's a very capable and fast driver. He just needs to work a little bit more on his strategy before he can probably be considered a title contender all the time. But definitely this season's kind of stacked to his strengths a bit more, as we're on board with Plux, who's just set his best lap of the race. Of course, the 36s, the laps straight after the pits, don't get counted. They are out laps, so you're looking at that first lap time after coming out the pits. The best lap times. Plug seems to be dropping knee jogger this time. Oh, that was nice. Nicely done through there. Quite a smooth line. It seems as the fuel's come off that Porsche, Plux has got a little more comfortable as we're on board with F1. Oh, here we go again. We've seen this manoeuvre. He's going to dive it to the inside and power straight past him. Well, I don't like to sound a little bit dejected by an overtaking manoeuvre, but that one we have seen twice already. Nothing Mangino can do to fight it. That car's just stronger, better than his in a straight line. He's got fresher tyre. Oh, he's going to have a look though. Oh, good on him for having a good old stab at it. Oh, gets on the power out sideways. And he is giving him a good old go for it. F1 had to take evasive action, and that slowed him down. So hats off to Mangino for making a fight of that. The last 2 times he kind of swallowed the pill a bit and just went, alright, through you go. There's Plux. It's probably the closest challenger to F1 now on strategy. Even so, he's a long way back. I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop F1. I think F1's about 12 seconds ahead of Plux at this point. And Plux would have to find, what, 1.3 seconds per lap over F1 over the last 8 laps and find a way past. Which, let's be honest, is unlikely to happen. Gino's probably going to pit again, as will Gadget, so these two are going to come out fairly close to each other. Maybe if Gadget pits earlier, actually, he might be able to get the undercut and gate straight through, because Mangino's tyres are absolutely shot. I think Gadget might get Mangino here. He's very much out of fuel, so he's definitely coming in this time. But if he goes to Supers and puts in a couple of extra special laps, he's got a good chance of this, you know. What's he doing? Yes, he is. He's thought the same thing, I think. If he gets the undercut now, he's going to have to probably wave goodbye to the podium, but that was always going to happen with the amount of fuel he had. He was never going to hold it on. And I think Gadget might be going for the supers and try and nab himself at least 4th position, and if Nidjogger doesn't have a good stint, maybe 3rd. There's Plux, who's definitely having a good stint. That's what, 3:38s in a row? He's finally found, I think, woken up now. Now he's in the clean air with lower fuel. That car seems to have come alive a bit. And that's a bit of a shame, and I'm going to say it again, I think lap 1 completely scuppered Plux's race. By allowing Nidjogger through, and by extension Gadget, he's cost himself a shot at F1, because he's now got the pace, and Gino's going to take himself out of this through strategy, because he can't make the tyres last long enough. And there is Grimlock, allowing Plux through. And there's V8, who's never really recovered from that early mistake. And there's Canny in 11th. We'll get back to what I was saying before about the strategies once we've gone through the field. There's Richie, he's in 10th, which is a great, really good debut from Richie. Etton's in 9th, again another person who's kind of suffered through strategy. You know, he was up in 7th, 6th. You know, it was really close in that first stint from 3rd down to 7th, and he's kind of fallen away. Ben's gone with that 2-stop strategy, and that's really worked out for him actually. He's definitely had good pace. We'll see. Jammy might make it to the end. We'll have to see. That fuel is looking a little bit low. Those tyres are good enough. There's Gadget on supers, like I said. He's going to chase after Muller, who still needs to pit again. And you can see Gadget used all the slipstream he could. Muller will be going back on supers. We'll see if he can stay ahead of Jammy there. And there's Nidjogger. And there's Plux again putting in a 38. And he's really suddenly found a turn of pace. I mean, yes, he hasn't been in the 37s like the top two have. But they only managed about 1:37 per stint. And definitely for dropping into the 39s. We'll have to keep an eye on the lap times for the top two. But this is going to really be annoying. Yeah, you can see Gino's in the 40s now on those destroyed soft tyres. I don't understand why he didn't pit earlier. There's F1. He's just about hanging it on in the 39s. I think the high 38s there. My preview screen's a little bit small for me to be able to see that. Definitely Plux is catching, and he's got to be kicking himself for making that mistake. Because in 6 laps he's not going to bridge that gap, but he now finally probably knows he had the pace to stay with them if he hadn't had stuffed up that lap 1. And he could have taken a real surprise victory here. I don't think it's going to happen. I think F1's got this one in the bag. He can manage that gap. He doesn't have to push. Maybe F1 does have a bit more pace in the car, but of course he has got 1 lap older tyres. There's Mangino finally pitting. Gadget's definitely going to get past him now. I think Mangino's taking himself right out of this on strategy. He'll be lucky to get 4th position, and he's been the fastest car. He had pole, he has fastest lap, and this is a real surprise. See Mangino coming a bit. There's Plux now, so Plux is in 2nd, which has been a good recovery drive, but he'll be kicking himself wanting more. Nidjogger's had a really strong 3rd position. But there you go, you can see they pitted at the same time, came out, what, maybe a second or so between them, and Plux has just disappeared off down the road from Nidjogger. All race they've been together, and I genuinely think Plux has stuffed himself over. Gadget's strategy hasn't quite worked out for him today, but he will take a strong 4th, and both Plux and Gadget need a strong result here. Mangino's going to be a lot quicker than Gadget on fresher supers. I mean, that car now with low fuel and super sticky tyres must feel amazing to drive. There's Muller, who, like I said, oh, Ben has taken 7th from Jammy. That's interesting. Didn't see that before. We just flicked past Ben, so we'll have to. I don't know if we're going to see what happened there. Jammy's in 8th, which is still a perfectly strong finishing position, mid-table for points. Senna, who, again, I think he took himself out of this by having to pit every 7 or 8 laps. I think that's scuppered his race plans. Richie's had a great debut in the Netflix car. You know, he had that issue at the start and was recovered really well. Canny in the McLaren has driven perfectly well. He will score some reasonable points in the 77. And yeah, it was a great looking car. He's driven perfectly fine, hasn't made too many errors, had some good battles with V8, and he's going to come out on top in that battle, I think. So, yeah, good race from Canny. Does look good around here, especially with those silver outline rims. It's very classic. There's V8. He's now behind Nijogger, 1 lap down. 75, and Grimlock's dropped behind him. Grim's had a good race, just seems to have lost a little bit at the end. Let's have a look at the lap times. Ooh, F1's picked it up a little bit, and of course as Plux's tyres wear off, I think he's losing that little bit of bite that's given him so much pace over F1. The gap does seem to be down now for around 7 or so seconds, so he's definitely closed him in, because it was 13 seconds at the end of the oh, that was very leery. That could have been a loop. That very nearly went round, I think, on Plux. It's going to cost him about 3 or 4 tenths on this lap, so maybe F1 will get away. Let's see what the lap time's over the line. That's a 39.4 for F1. And what's Plux managed this time? How much has he taken out of it? That's a 39.2. He's still pulled a little bit in, but you can take 3 or 4 tenths of that as being that mistake, and he would have taken half a second out of it. There's Nijogger, he's pretty safe. Oh wait! Gino's got past Gadget. We'll have to see what happened there. Gadget was safely in 4th position, I thought. Let's see what was happening here. Oh, he's behind Grimlock, and he's just gone wide. I think just got distracted there. The tyres probably not quite as good as they were. And Mongino's going to go, thank you very much, I'll have that back. So, through a little mistake there by Gadget, he's cost himself a position. And he'll have to fight very hard to get that position back. So now we're back with F1 on lap 34. Plux right behind. Well, not right behind, but behind. Nijogger's going to try and get back. He was already behind. Oh, he's had a bad lap. You can see that on the lap time actually. That's allowed V8 back through. But, I mean, he's very safe back to Mongino now. I think that's a pretty confirmed 3rd position for Nijogger. He'll probably kind of cruise that one home. Mongino's going to have to drive pretty hard to stay in front of Gadget, but I think Gadget's probably lost that 4th position now. Of course, there may be penalties for some of these drivers, we don't know, we can't see. And there's Müller, kind of a steady 6th position. If he wants a better chance at the championship, I think he needs to really work on his 1 lap pace, because Müller has always been that driver who can make tyres last really, really, really long, but he's just always put himself out of position, or he's in that middle group, and it means he can never get away nice and easily. There's Ben in 7th. Another good driver. Good drive. There's Jammy. It's one of those up and down drivers, Jammy. He can be really good some weeks, and then other weeks throw it in a hedge 16 times. For real understandable reason. I know after the first season he was kind of my dark horse pick for a top 5 in the championship, and it kind of went a bit wrong for him last season, but he seems to have been a little more consistent so far. At least in this race he's had a good race. Monza was a bit up and down for him. Canny's another one who's, I think it was back in season 1, he had that exceptional finish at Blue Moon, and it looked like he kind of figured it all out, but he still has moments of kind of errors and stuff like that thrown into his race. But if he can find a bit more consistency, I think he could be regularly inside that top 10. Same with V8 here. I mean, he was 5th on the grid. That Porsche is a good car. He's a good driver in it. But, he does make errors, and he doesn't always recover from his errors very well. He can compound his own mistakes. Grimm's shown a bit of a better turn of pace recently. He needs to probably work on his strategy next. His pace is getting there, but his strategy is sometimes a little bit lacking. And there's halt. He just does a reasonable job, but you can definitely tell that he's on auto drive. He's got the lights flashing all the time, and the car not particularly doing very well for pace. On the subject of pace, let's see where F1's lap times are now. He's now into the 40s. Let's see where Plux's are. In the 39s. Yeah, so he's taking another 7 or 8 tenths out of F1. And I can imagine that F1's probably backed this down quite a lot. He's allowed Plux to come in. We are now on the last lap. So unless F1 absolutely buries it in the gravel somewhere, I doubt Plux is going to get a shot at this. There's Nijogger in third. Consistent. Not really been the best of... oh, actually, Mangino has closed him in a fair bit. He's going to have to be careful here, Nee, because if he's not too careful, he will get overtaken by Mangino, and that would be a bit of a turn up for the books, because Mangino's had an extra pit stop, and he did drive around in the 41s for about 3 laps on very dead tyres, so if Nijogger doesn't get a hurry on, he's going to be in problems here. Gadget's tyres have gone off, you can see that, and Gino's managed to pull away from him. Gaps up around 3-4 seconds now, I think. We'll see. Gino can get past. There's Miller in 6th. Yeah, like I said, we are now confirmed onto that final lap. The 1 hour point has passed. Yeah, Miller's biggest weakness, as we've said before, is definitely qualifying. As we're on board with F1, he's very much controlled this race, and he's going to have a nice, clean approach to take a well-deserved victory. There's Flux in second. He's flashing the lights. He's probably pleased with the second place, but oh, look at this, Nijogger just about holding on from Mangino. Who's going to get it over the line? He's going to be all over that Lexus. Let's see, is the run to the line? Oh, Mangino's had to brake for a penalty. Let's see what happens here. And, oh, the penalty was so big he lost the gap to Gadget as well. The Gadget's mistake doesn't end up costing him too much. It's still 4th position for Gadget. And there's Muller. He'll take home a strong 6th. See Ben there behind in 7th. Nice decent points for these guys. That Toyota always does look fabulous. We'll flash the lights. Ben knows he's had a good race there. There's Jamie in 8th. There, we'll probably finish 9th. There's Richie's already taken 10th spot. I think the rest of the positions were already pretty much decided, with Richie 10th, 11th was Canny, 12th V8, and 13th was Grimm, and Haldir finished on auto drive in 14th. After that exciting round, we can see F1 stretched his points advantage with another win, but Mangino managed to take both pole and the fastest lap to gain 2 extra points. Plux has leapt past Nijogger, and Miller's leapt up the order, but the biggest mover has to be Gadget, moving down from 10th all the way up to 6th position with a strong 4th position. Jamie, Ben, both had good finishes. Fours had unfortunately dropped down the order due to his disconnection, and Senna stayed around the same position in 10th, while some of the other backmarkers have jumped up past some of the drivers who didn't compete in this round. Catch us next time at the fearsome Nürburgring, also in the Group 3 cars, and we'll see who can take the fight to F1, who's currently shown himself as the class of the field so far. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.